I look rough. Oh God, why is it so pink? It's so pink. It's too.
What's pink? I'm pink.
My screen
Or
is.
you're pink.
I'm pink. I mean, I know my makeup is pink, but there ain't no. There we go. There ain't no need for all that. I have a slight headache. Okay. All right. While I primp. Okay. Hey y'all. Hey y'all.
Hey guys.
All right. So, we are here for the Real R&R again. I hope y'all liked our fancy thumbnail. I made that.
Yes, I love the thumbnail. Rachel did it. She turned it up. It looks great.
Yes.
Hi, Karen Davis. What's up?
So, yeah. So we're here. Let me get my sweet tea.
I need something to drink. I need coffee. I think I'm gonna have a coffee.
Girl, dadgummit.
So how are you guys doing? Hope everybody's having a really good Monday. We are so happy to be here. We want to get it popping. 104 people on the chat now.
104 people. That was horrible. Just give me a minute, and I'm gonna make my coffee real quick. That was my bad, y'all. I was over here tripping. I was too busy trying to upload a video and all this mess, and I didn't have time to make it. I'll make mine, and then you can make yours.
Yeah. I'm gonna have coffee, you guys. No, why isn't people talking? Is it my phone, or is nobody talking? The last one.
Tell me I did not disrupt the stream.
Last person in the chat is Terry.
Are you serious? Did I somehow disrupt it?
Okay, hold on.
No, it's working.
It may be me.
Okay, I was like,
it was me. Thank you, you guys. I'm so glad you like the channel. So glad. Thank you. I went blonde this time. I was like, I need to pipe it up and go blonde. Thank you, Terry.
Blondes have more fun.
Hello.
Oh. All right. Let's do this.
Everybody loves the thumbnail.
Yay.
Somebody's making some taters. Taters sound really good. I haven't even ate yet. I'm like, I think I may eat during this live stream.
Girl.
Reese, how old are your twins? So Jade and Aria are technically not twins. They just behave like twins. So I call them the Bopsy twins, but they're not really twins. Hi, Connor. What's up?
Hey, Connor.
Waiting for my Japanese chicken teriyaki bento box. Amen. That sounds so good.
Oh, teasing. Y'all know I'm hungry over here. My ass is always hungry.
So once she gets back, you guys, I'm going to get me a cup of coffee. I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee because I need it. I need the coffee tonight.
Yeah.
We had deer burger tonight. I love deer burgers. My favorite burger is venison burgers. They're so good. I hear kitties. Oh no, I ain't got kitties.
Is it mine?
Blondes do have more fun. Blondes have. I've been having a lot of fun since I became blonde. It's a lot of fun. So it's just love it. Love it. I'm waiting on nachos. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely eat. Everybody else is eating. I'm gonna eat. Fettuccine Alfredo with the French bread.
I ain't got nothing to eat, nothing to snack on.
Girl, you better eat. I'm about to eat.
I ain't got nothing to snack on. I had some pretzels, but they're gone.
Okay, Terry Davis, you got me with that one. Deer bologna, like I don't think so ever in life have I ever had that. I hadn't even heard of that. Haven't even heard of that. Sea salt, malted vinegar, kettle chips. That's what I'm talking about. I'm getting hungry. I'm getting real hungry.
Hungry.
What's Vegemite? I've never had that, Susan. What is
That's
that?
an Australian thing.
Huh?
It's an Australian thing.
Oh. All right, I got you. Australian thing. I need to look that up. Squirrel turkey.
Oh, Lord.
What is that?
To me.
What is that? Somebody please. Tastes like beef. Yuck. I'll try anything once. I'll try it one day. I used to live in Germany, and I got to try a lot of there that I like. But I haven't been to Australia. I love to go to Australia. My sister lived in Australia. She lived in Sydney, Australia. She never told me about the Vegemite. I'm going to have to ask her about it. I ain't never had no chicken hearts. I had chicken liver. I eat chicken liver. I don't eat the hearts. I fed my dogs the chicken hearts.
I used to work for a chicken place that sold chicken hearts.
Okay, CZ75, you done lost me there. I am not live octopus, nah. Nope.
That's how you die.
No, I do not think so. Fried alligator is good. It's like the chicken of the swamp. The chicken of the swamp.
All right.
Oh yeah, y'all are. Katana's 3 years old. When Rachel gets here, we're gonna start this R&R. But until she gets here, I'm gonna talk about food because that's what I want to do. I do what I want.
No, y'all go lay down now. Go on, get.
Have you ever fed your dog whole frozen rabbit? Rachel has, and I fed rabbit too before. See, yeah, I'll try. Not. I will not eat living food. Like anything alive that it's got to be deceased.
Yeah.
It's got to be deceased and cooked. Lamb kidney stew. I've never had that.
Man. All right, I give up. There's nothing to snack on. No, I said go lay down.
Some egg rolls. Yeah, that is really good. That is pretty good.
Blondie, go lay down.
Oh.
All right, so.
Reese, are you gonna rub lotion on your naked dog for 10K? I sure will. I will rub the lotion on the skin, guys. I told you I'd do it for 10K.
So I'm trying to. So I think what caused the sound last time was when I researched it, people were saying that it could be interference. So I'm trying to move all of the electronics away so that we don't have that issue. So hopefully.
I have to answer one more food question. Do you eat steak? If so, what's your perfect steak? A medium rare ribeye. That is my perfect steak. Seasoned, well seasoned. Because I am not trying to eat no bland food.
Okay. Don't be hating on me, Connor. Yes, I'm unprepared, but I had to do the thumbnail. That's why.
Look, we're always unprepared. Like, that's what we...
We're women. We're women. Don't hate.
We'll get it together someday.
Don't hate. Okay. I'm trying not to touch anything because when I touch things, things break too. So... Okay. All right. So I have my coffee. We about to get it done. We about to do this, y'all. All right. So I have a topic I want to talk about today. and it kind of goes along with what we talked about the last time. My AC is blowing up. It's like making my hair look like beach hair. So, okay. So anyway.
Ain't nothing sexier than beach hair, girl.
Girl, for real, I'm just like, so, they're gonna, woo! I'm gonna party in the back. So anyway, so there was a puppy mill that was busted recently. And I found it. Let me find you guys a link real quick so that we all know what we're talking about here.
No, I didn't forget my coffee. I'm gonna get my coffee. I'll keep talking.
Yeah, she's gonna go get her coffee, and I'm gonna get this link for you guys. By the way, if you like my eyeshadow today, I got the new palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Oh my God, girl. I love this palette. So I did this color, Barb. Wow, this makes it worth it. And then I did New Wanker. Oops. That's not the name of that. This is not the name. I can't believe I just said that. Woo! Okay. New Yorker. New Yorker. And OG Simsa and 1988. New Yorker. Can you believe I just said that? No.
Girl, what are you laughing at?
No shade. So, okay, look, Reese.
What?
You're gonna love this. So there's a shade in this palette called, look, I'm gonna show you because you're right here. Look at this. Look at this one right here, this gold one.
I can't read it. Is it called Coochie?
No, it's New Yorker, Yawker. And I called it Wanker. Whoops. It's my bad, y'all. Still a good palette. We're trying to get demonetized over here. I'm gonna go back to looking for this link before I get myself in trouble. Girl, I cannot believe I said that.
We're full of it. We are full of it.
I literally cannot believe that.
Rachel.
Yeah. No, I did that. I did that. I said that. That's my bad, y'all.
Somebody said they hope we do a video with Preacher and Achilles together. No, you don't.
No. Achilles is not he's not built for it, y'all. Okay, so here's the link to the story. Okay, that is important. That is important because it talks about what happened. And then I want to show you guys the link to, this is to the actual place that has the dogs. And these dogs are up for adoption because they were taken. It's a horrible link. It's very long. Sorry, but it won't even let me. Let me see if I can't get a better link.
I'm still laughing at you.
Girl, I know. I shouldn't, that's my bad, y'all. My bad. So let's see here.
Somebody's saying the quality's getting bad.
On
the live stream.
Unfortunately.
Thank you, sir.
There's not too much I can do about it. We are hardwired in, so unfortunately we got what we got, y'all. Dude, how does this work? Oh, here we go. Orange County, Pet Harbor, Orange County. Mine
is getting better. Okay, good.
Let's see.
Yeah, y'all, please hit that like button. That's right, Shay. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Y'all hit that like button. 326 watching right now. Hit that like button.
Here we go.
See, I thought you were laughing, Rachel, because the people of YouTube seen something that they didn't need to see from me.
No, girl, I messed up. That was me, girl. I done messed up. I literally was like, I did not just say what I thought that I just said because that's not good. So available pets. I'm trying to find. Here we go. Special update. So they're auctioning off all the dogs. I do know that.
They're auctioning the dogs off.
Yeah, they're doing. It's like a crazy thing where they're even I think they're even doing it in like groups of 6, if I'm not mistaken, of what I saw.
And if they're doing that, they can't be registered because AKC wouldn't allow that.
What is going on here? Here we go.
I could export Billy to Germany if anybody's interested in that. That we can fly them overseas. We just can't fly them domestically.
So it will not let me do it. So this is what I can do though. For whatever reason, that link is super long. So you go on to this page and then you click available dogs and puppies. So you go on that page, you click available dogs and puppies, and anything that's October 11th of this year is current. And so the point of this is that this breeder has, they have bulldogs, they have English bulldogs, they have French bulldogs, and they have actual Cane Corso. And they got busted. There was like over 500 dogs at these people's, hey Kim, at these people's house, and many of them were malnourished and sick and things like that. And one of the things that you'll notice whenever you actually look through all the dogs is you'll find that these people were color breeders. Okay, these are people that were breeding colors that people like to see, so that because that's what people want. And so and I really spent a lot of time talking about this on our last live stream, and I wanted to be very clear with people as to why it was that we talk about this, because ultimately whenever an individual cares more about color than they do about anything else, what they end up doing is they end up funding people like that, because there are people that are like, well, I don't care about ethics. You know what I mean? If you want a blue dog, I'll breed blue dogs for you. I'll sell all the blue dogs to these people. And so those people were breeding the colors that everybody wants to see, everybody wants to have. And unfortunately, a lot of those kinds of situations, like they're very good at hiding things. These people have been in business for a really long time. And so, like one of the things that I see a lot is like animal rights people and rescue people will oftentimes get mad at breeders, and they'll say, oh, bad breeders, this and that, puppy mills, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that a puppy mill cannot exist without buyers. Okay. Any breeder, any person can get 2 dogs, put them together and create puppies. What determines whether or not those people are going to move forward with that process is how many people buy those animals. So puppy mills stop at the buyer's feet. Okay. It's not a breeder's fault. It's not my fault. It's not Reese's fault. We don't want those people in business any more than the animal rights people do, or the rescues do.
Yeah.
But we can't stop people. You know what I mean? When I get people calling me for a blue dog and I don't have a blue dog, and they're like, well, I get, you know, I've got my money and I want what I want. You know, that's the individual that is going to be keeping those people in business. And so it's very important that people understand and take responsibility for the fact that puppy mills are only in business because people give them business. So if you want to stop puppy mills, stop giving them money, stop giving them business, and they will not be able to exist anymore, right? It only takes a couple litters of not being able to sell them and get rid of them before a person realizes, oh crap, you know what I mean? I can't do this. This isn't a viable way of making money. So I think that it's really important that people understand that. And it's not just about you and what you want. You know what I mean? I'm sure that plenty of people bought dogs from those people, and all they cared about was they got their pretty dog. But in the reality, there was a bunch of dogs that were suffering in that home. So how many animals need to suffer so that you can have your one pretty puppy? You know what I mean? So, you know, I wish that we had catchy little slogans, you know what I mean? Like they do, adopt, don't shop. I don't know. I was thinking of like, I was trying to think of something catchy. If you think of something, please message me, because people respond to that kind of stuff to really highlight the importance of recognizing that stopping puppy mills, stopping breeders that only breed for color, it can only stop when people stop buying their puppies. You know, punishing all breeders because those people suck isn't the answer. You know what I mean? You can't have these like knee-jerk reactions. We never make any progress when we do that. When we say, well, these people are bad breeders, so all breeders are bad, right? That doesn't solve the issue, because there's always going to be people that want a purebred dog. The solution is, how do we get to where we can separate and punish people who are not doing it right? You know what I mean? How can we do that? How can we stop those people from operating? And that really comes down to stop giving them your money in your business. And I'm not saying that you guys do. I mean, you probably wouldn't be watching me if you did, but like, I think that I think that we all need to kind of work together and recognize that there are certain thought patterns that are what get us to that point. And wanting a puppy based off color is a really good way to get yourself in the mix with a puppy mill, especially when you're looking for those dilute colors, right? Because that's a recessive gene. Most good breeders are not going to, even if you take a blue dog like what I have Cashmere, right? She's a blue dog, and I breed her to Preacher. Preacher's mother was blue. So there's a lot of blue in those lines, and yet I still will really only ever get maybe 4 to 6 blue puppies in a litter, you know? And so, you know, that's like a best case scenario. So when you put so much pressure,
we need to start campaigning. We need to start a campaign instead of, I'm sorry, Rachel, for cutting you off. But I think instead of allowing certain organizations just to campaign against breeders, period, we need to start a campaign against bad, immoral breeding practices, period. Rachel, where did you go? You disappeared, girl.
Girl, I had to check my dog. I had to let him know we ain't gonna be barking.
Oh, okay.
We're not gonna be barking in the live stream. Thank you, Julian.
Hey, Reese, do you plan on getting a male pup? Any thoughts on getting one from Rachel, like a puppy between Batista and Velocity? Unfortunately, I already, well, it's unfortunate, but it is fortunate. I have a breeding planned. I plan on using Batista. So when I put Batista to my lines, I will most likely keep something out of that.
Go.
But Rachel and I have a lot in common between our two programs anyway, line-wise.
Yeah.
So no, I don't plan on getting a puppy from Batista and Velocity, but I will keep a puppy back from Batista probably for one of my breedings.
No, out, preacher, go, 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 go. Get away from my stream. Go.
But yeah, I think we really need to
go now. Go.
Start a campaign, like I said, where we're not just allowing these organizations to just throw all the breeders and throw them under the bus, you know. We need to start a responsible breeding campaign.
Right. And help us. Like if you have an idea.
When we do that, those organizations that preach against all the breeders, they're going to start feeling it. They're going to start hurting because they're not going to get the amount of puppies coming from puppy mill situations, you know. So if we do a campaign like that and more people start buying smart, buying from responsible breeders, it's going to hurt certain organizations because they thrive, in my opinion, off of puppy mills being in business.
Yeah. So we need to help us think of a way to market that idea, right? To market the idea that it is the buyer's responsibility. You know what I mean? How can we shop smarter, right? So, okay. So,
yeah, you guys, we're not answering any questions about anybody's kennel. If you have a question about somebody's kennel, you can Google search, you can call that breeder, and they will tell you about their programs. Oh yeah, guys, and one thing I want to, I know this is not related to dogs, but it was a tragedy. Yesterday, you know, we lost 9 people in a helicopter accident, and among those people was, you know, in my opinion, like what people would consider a hero, a very talented basketball player, person in general, Kobe Bryant and his daughter.
Very sad.
And I just want to give my condolences and prayers and thoughts out to the families that lost their loved ones in that accident yesterday. It's very tragic. But I just wanted to throw that out there because we lost a very, very talented, good person yesterday and other people. It's really, really sad. But anyway, back to the dogs. Let's see what we got.
Okay.
Checking breeders, support breeders. Hello.
I feed raw the majority of time. There's a lot of controversy over calcium while pregnant. What is your opinion? Is a normal raw diet okay? So I only fed my dog raw one time while she was pregnant, and I did not like the results. I ended up with, like, it just was not the best litter. I had some issues, and so I don't feed raw to pregnant females anymore. Thank you, Eddie. And I don't feed raw to really to any of my dogs anymore. I don't think that I think that the idea of raw is awesome. I just don't think we can implement it because of the fact that raw is basically designed to be like what an animal would eat in the wild, but yet that's not what an animal would eat in the wild. An animal would eat another animal that's lived out in nature, had the benefit of organic, free range, you know, stuff. They would eat all parts of the animal, including the gut. There's a lot that goes into that.
The fur, everything.
When you look at what we eat, the amount of stuff that they put in our meat to kind of like make it either their colors, or they'll put a bunch of like fluids in it, like sodium and stuff like that. And I just don't think that you can feed, if you want to raise an animal. Like somebody asked if I'd ever fed a rabbit to my dogs. I had. I actually was raising rabbits for my dogs to eat. And I wanted to do a whole prey diet. So I was feeding them. I was actually growing wheatgrass for my rabbits, feeding them that organic homegrown wheatgrass that I was fertilizing with all my fish tank water. And then growing that grass up, giving it to the rabbits, and then growing that up. And so that, I think if you could do something like that, like a whole prey diet, then I think you're probably in the clear. But I would not feed an animal raw based on our commercial meats. I just wouldn't do it. It's not the same thing. You can't equate the two.
And I'll elaborate on that. So I feel as if, as far as breeding stock is concerned, when you're breeding canines, I don't feel like we can. I don't feel like we're offering an adequate enough nutrition, like variety that they need. And so it does, I think, hurt when you're breeding dogs, because a female is not getting, I think, everything that she needs. I didn't like the results either. I fed it as well. But if you have a pet and you want to feed raw, I think it's very, very beneficial. There's a lot of benefits to it. But if you're breeding or you have a young puppy, I highly recommend feeding kibble.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I raised Preacher and Cashmere on a raw diet, commercial raw diet, and there's a lot to like about it. No, go. No, go. The waste being one thing, because of the fact that it practically disappears. They don't require as much water. There's a lot to like about it. But having said that, I would not. I don't know what the problem that I see with the whole raw thing is that there has not been enough time for us to know what potential issues there are with the diets that we're feeding, right? Like it's the same thing that happened with the spay and neuter. You know, the whole rescue revolution thing happened over the last, say, 15 years, 20 years. And everybody was like, spay and neuter, spay and neuter, spay and neuter. And so everybody just spayed and neutered. And now all of a sudden, in the last, 5 years, 10 years, all of a sudden, now there's all these stories, these studies about the bad things, the health issues that come with spay and neuter. So I'm always hesitant to jump onto a popular bandwagon and be like, oh yeah, it's awesome. This is the way we do it. This is what we're all doing. This is the way, you know what I mean? I'm cautious because it takes years to know the negative effects of any new, protocol, whether it be a feeding protocol, whether it be a health protocol. And I don't want my animal to suffer in the meantime based on that. So I would like to think that you can feed a kibble diet and supplement with raw and kind of get the best of both worlds. No, Batista, no, go. Don't you dare knock over my light.
He looks like a satellite head.
Girl, he is a satellite head.
That's funny.
He is. He's trying to come sabotage my video. I bet money he would do it. He would. Because that's Batista for you.
Talking about Katana being pregnant, I gotta tell y'all what happened. So I had big dreams of skipping this heat and then breeding her to a different male. And she went into season over the Christmas holiday. And we went 2 weeks and with no breeding. We completely separated her, kept her away. And so it came time to put her back with the pack, reintroduce her. And so, I put her with Achilles. And to my surprise, he was not interested. He did not behave like a male that had a female in heat at all. They ignored each other in the house when they were together. And so I put him out in the yard to use the bathroom. And I'm checking on him. And I think I'm on the phone with Rachel. And I look outside. And they are completely tied, intertwined, balls deep in.
She
Rachel
said
should have said that.
She said that, y'all. She went there. Woo! We're on fire tonight. I can't judge, girl. I can't judge. I done said something else, so I can't say nothing.
Anyways.
Thank you, Juanita.
Yeah. She looks pregnant. Anybody interested, hit me up, because it seems like I have puppies that are on their way. But yeah, that's the story. That is the story.
So I wanted to ask.
Hey, dude, you do it long enough, so you're gonna have things like that happens. But he's like a ninja. He's like a thief in the freaking night. And Rachel knows. She knows all about him.
He's done it multiple times. He has. And the females don't help. So
He's sneaky.
So Juanita asked a question. She said, at what point does a dog become your line? Is Trinity a Senza line, or does it take generations to create a line? Can Admiral and Bella puppy be a line? So that is a matter of opinion. Okay. Some people would say that whenever you take two dogs and you breed them, whatever you produce off of that breeding, because you can register it in your name, is technically your line because it's under your name. Some people would say that you need 20 years to produce your own line. I would say that at the point that what you produce no longer represents what it came off of, that's more than likely your line, right? So, you know, I think that when a lot of people say our line, we are referencing our goal, right? So we're not actually saying we already have our own line. We're basically talking about our goal, in that we have a goal to produce our own line. So, and there's really no other accurate way of really describing that. So I would say that, for example, I would say for sure that Nirvana is my line, right? She's now 2 generations into my stuff. And the thing about it is that anyone can take, Reese and I could have started off with puppies from the exact same litters, and we could have all the exact same genetics, but which puppies we keep and which pairings that we choose to do from that point on is going to determine how those offspring end up looking. So it doesn't matter whose genetics you start with. What really determines a line is your selection process. And so, anyway, so, I mean, a lot of the old American breeders did that.
There is not just, we're just not throwing dogs together because we love them, you know. We are actually pairing them up for certain results, like very specific results. And Rachel can give you examples of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why I say that, is that it is one of those things where there's in the breeding community, in the dog community, there's always going to be people that have their opinion and they think that their opinion is reality. And so, and that's not accurate. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I would just say that it's just one of those things where, you know, you have to kind of look at the situation and say to yourself, is what you produced exactly like what you got? You know, then it's probably you're doing your own thing. That's your line. That's your creation. You know what I mean? So, anyway, so that's all, you know, that I could say to that. Like I said, Nirvana, Pantera, that's my creation, right? That's not at all. They look nothing like what I originally started off with. In fact, I've bettered that, right? Like I literally took a dog like Blondie and I produced something much better than her. And really that's a good representation of a good breeder. Is a lot of people, like I tell people, I'll get people that call me and they want to be a breeder. And it's like, look, you can start off with great dogs. Like they'll tell me, well, I've done my research and you're a great breeder and I want to buy one of your dogs. And it's like, okay, but what other research have you done? Because Being a good breeder does not mean researching other good breeders. Being a good breeder and doing your research means researching structure, researching genetics, researching anatomy, so that going forward, when you have a litter of puppies, you can actually choose the best puppy out of that litter. If you don't know how to identify those things, you won't be able to produce a good line of pups, because you'll start off with great dogs, but in every litter of puppies, they're not all created equal. And you have to be able to identify quality. And if you can't do that, you can't be a breeder. So.
And I can say that when you're breeding, sometimes we call a proven male a male that can consistently produce himself or better. So his, typically what we like to see is good phenotype with awesome genotype.
Exactly.
Sometimes you have amazing phenotype and horrible genotype. So that means that you can have this dog that in front of you, he's amazing. He's a quality dog. He's everything you wanted. But when you breed him, he doesn't produce himself. He doesn't produce quality. So breeding goes way past breeding what's physically in front of you.
Right.
And it's disappointing when it happens. It happens all the time. You have dogs all the time that people invest a lot of money on because physically they are everything. But then they breed those dogs and genetically they just are not, the genetics are not dominant enough to pass it on. So then you're kind of at a loss because you have this beautiful male that can't produce itself. So when we talk about proven males, we're talking about males that produce themselves or better.
Right. Right.
So that, to me, in my opinion, you have a lot of people that will say also going to the showing aspect, well, that dog's produced champions. Well, if a dog is producing champions, then hopefully he's producing himself or better.
Yeah.
But a championship is not everything.
And especially another good point to that as well is that not only will they produce themselves, but more often than not, a really good producer will produce the best of himself and not his faults. You know what I mean? Because there are no perfect dogs.
Dog is perfect.
Yeah. So you don't want a male that's consistently producing his fault. You know what I mean? And like Preacher, for example, Preacher is a male that I've put to 3 other females, and each time he's actually produced pretty good dogs. He produces himself for sure and for certain, and he's not bad at, like, he does have a steep, short croup. It's not the end of the world, but he does have that. And he's not, like, he doesn't consistently produce that with every other dog that doesn't have that, He'll produce it with the female that has that. That's why I had a guy contact me wanting to use Preacher, and unfortunately his female had the same fault, but even worse. And I was like, sorry. I was like, my male will not help you. In fact, it'll get worse. And I sent him to Reese, and he bred to Achilles because Achilles does not have that fault. In fact, he's very strong in that area. And they did the breeding, and that is good breeding right there. It's not about the money, right? Like I could have taken that guy's money for the stud fee, but what does that do for me to use my dog to a dog that isn't going to produce quality puppies, right? It's better to send that money to Reese, where she can actually do a breeding with that guy that will benefit the breed. And that's the thing.
And I can tell you about Achilles, because he's really what we would call, in breeding terms, overdone or a hyper type dog. I know people that's watched my channel, they have seen that already. He's a hyper type dog. Some people will say, oh, it's a boxer. No, that's not what it is. It's very mestino. But he does not throw his weakness. He throws his strengths. I can throw out of him consistent, strong top lines, good movement, length. He throws everything that I need him to throw in a litter, except for his weaknesses. And that to me is everything. So him himself may not be perfect by any means, but his genotype is really good. I love his genotype.
Girl, I love Achilles. I love Achilles. He is a fantastic producer. Just like what we talked about, he does have some hypertype features, but it is out of 2 litters, he's only ever produced, I would say, 1 puppy that even like really looks like him. And honestly, that's Atari. And I'm fine with it because I know that it's not a super dominant trait, and it is something that I need. Like I have in my lines, I can have narrow, long muzzles. And so it's not a problem to me to take in a dog that has a shorter muzzle like that. So, and I know where that's coming from too, which is sangue, and I appreciate that. I want that sangue blood because that's really strong, good blood. So, but in that sense, a great producer. I would say 9 times out of 10, he's producing better than himself, and leaving his faults behind. That's a great male, a really great male.
Yeah. He's a very powerful male, and he's got a good temperament. So all around, I love what he produces. And I can't wait to see what he produces with another female, because I've only bred him to Katana. So I'm going to play around with it and see
what else
I can produce out of him. Because honestly, the way he behaves, his ninja ways, so probably...
Don't forget about Blondie. I see you hating on Blondie.
Who's hating on Blondie?
You didn't even mention Blondie. You bred him to Blondie.
Oh, I meant in my program. I've only...
I see you hating on Blondie. Hating on my little girl. My little sweetie. Like she don't count.
Let me tell you what. He produced so much semen. My sister Morgan was because we couldn't.
There you go again. You are really trying to get us demonetized.
We had
y'all.
We had to toss some of his babies in the trash, guys. But let me tell you what he produced with Rachel. He produced with Rachel.
His man fluid. His man nectar. All right? Let's go there.
Y'all want to donate because we ain't getting paid.
Yeah, no, seriously, help us out. So Carla Boyle, thank you for your donation. Can you talk about temperament and what exactly y'all look for? So we'll both answer this. So because we both look for different things.
Hold on. What? Let me look at that question again.
About the temperament question?
I've always wanted to ask you, I think I missed the question.
About the temperament?
I was laughing.
Yeah, it's, can you talk about temperament and what exactly y'all look for?
Well, I will tell you what I like and what I'm striving for. So I like my male Achilles temperament. He's very confident. He's very cocky. He listens very well. He's very strong. And he's an easy dog. He's easy. He is a very dominant dog. That's why we cannot bring him and Preacher together. It'd be popping. But overall, that's a temperament I like. I like a thinking dog. He thinks, and this is a thinking breed. This is not, some people say or put on the impression that a Corso is a protection breed. Can a Corso protect? Absolutely, but this is a guardian breed. This is a thinking breed. This is not a breed that was meant to be reactive. Dogs that are reactive are protection dogs, and they have a lot of bites. Sometimes they don't think, and the energy and the drive is so high that they bite their handlers sometimes. This is not that breed. So I appreciate an animal that can identify a threat and a non-threat. And that's what Achilles has. So in my program, I am looking for an Achilles. Have I produced Achilles necessarily? It's temperament at 100%. No. And Rachel and I have talked about that. I produce very smart dogs so far, but their drive is a little on the higher side. And I need to bring that back in and chill it out. Rachel, you want to go ahead with it?
Yes. So I prefer Preacher's temperament, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the Preacher has the perfect temperament, which is funny. We both like our males. So not only is Preacher, quit it, Blair, quit trying to talk over me. So not only is Preacher a very like calm dog, he's basically what I call an on and off dog. So when I'm needing to do something or whatever, he's ready to go. If I just want to sit and lay down, he's ready to sit there and lay down. If I'm going through something emotional, like when my dog Terrible had cancer and I was trying to verbalize that, and I started breaking down crying. He had been in the back of my vehicle and I started crying, and out of nowhere, his big and just lays across my chest, right? Not kissing my face. He just lays that big old head across my chest. And he's so like connected to me. You know what I mean? He's like, he's watching me. He's in the same way, like a lot of the things I tell people, like I don't have to train Preacher to do a lot of things because he notices what I'm doing, figures out a way for him to help out and does that. And he listens very carefully. Like if he does something wrong, he listens, he adjusts it. To me, that's a true working dog. A true working dog, in my opinion, should not have to be taught to do every little bitty thing. They should be of the mindset to figure out how to implement themselves into the work naturally. And Preacher does that. Yep. Didn't have to train him to bark at birds. He noticed that birds came by. He doesn't like them around. He wants to protect the family. He barks. You know what I mean? He's very protective, but very stable. You know, very good dog. And also in the same sense, he's not like what you said. He's not a attack dog. He's not going to run off and attack somebody, you know. Even whenever he does get into it with another dog, if another dog attacks him, he doesn't bite and attack and tear him up, you know. He gets them off, makes himself known, and moves on with his day. He's such a well-balanced and intelligent dog. And I like a thinking dog. That's why I talked about Nirvana today. Yeah. I was trying to get Pantera off my foot, and the lady's always trying to attack me. And Nirvana noticed that and came over and got her sister and helped me out. That's what I want. I want a dog that I don't have to tell to do something. They notice and they do it on their own. That's, to me, phenomenal. That's what I want. I want all my dogs to be that smart, that in tune, and that stable and predictable and confident and loving. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
We want real Cane Corso.
Exactly.
That's everything that a Cane Corso is. That's what they embody. That's what we want. You know, we basically just describe the same thing. And I'm telling you, Preacher, he has an excellent temperament, and I've seen that firsthand. You know, when Rachel allows you in, he is very, very confident. He's very friendly, but he's all business too. All business. He's definitely a dog that you don't want to have to make him do something.
Yeah, no, you don't want to test him.
A very smart dog, and Rachel actually experienced that with my male the last time she was down here, because he's a very cocky, confident dog, and he could have bit her, but he did what he should do. He looked at her, he assessed the situation. He's like, okay, I'll let you handle me. That's fine.
Yep.
And that's what a Cane Corso is, the thinking breed. They should know a threat from a non-threat very
easily.
In
fact, both of us have gone through that, because one time when I very first saw Reese in person, actually, I went up there and I had a puppy in my truck, and I had a couple dogs with me, and we were stacking out midnight, and I was like, hey, Reese, go in my truck and get this puppy, right? And I thought she would be fine. I thought it wouldn't be a problem. She walked up to the truck, and Preacher had decided that, you know, he just didn't know her well enough, and he was on guard. He was working. He was protecting that truck, and she looked at him, and she knew, and she had already stacked him out. I had brought him out. She stacked him out. She looked at him, touched him, perfectly fine. But once he was in that vehicle and he was working, and she went over there without me, he let her know. And he didn't bark at her. He did not growl at her, but he let her know. And she knew. And she was like, no, Rachel, you're going to have to go in that truck and get that puppy. So
get that puppy. I was not about to.
Yeah. And I mean, so exactly
that he had for me.
Yeah. And we've both had that happen. You know what I mean? And both of us have very stable males. And, you know, that's just like part of it. And I think that's the thing about this breed is that you can almost get a little too comfortable in thinking that they're so sweet and they're so this and they're so that. And a lot of people will try to tell you, and don't listen to this. People will try to tell you, well, if you socialize your dog too much, then it won't protect you. That is a lie. A good dog, a well-trained protection dog, will not sit there and let somebody do something wrong just because they're friendly. You know, he was letting her handle him 1 minute, totally being chill. But if she was going to go in and push that, he would have let her know. And so it's inaccurate to assume that just because you socialize your dog that your dog can't be also protective. You can have the best of both worlds.
A stable temperament is a stable temperament.
Exactly.
You know, there's just no gray areas. Either the dog is stable enough and strong enough in its character or not. Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah. Hey Connor, can you also be posting the Real R&R channel? Because that one is the one we really need posted.
Yeah. Thank you, Connor.
Because we want to get that one going.
Yeah, we have some very exciting things coming up, you guys. If y'all just stick with us and just stay tuned for the future, we have some very exciting things that we're planning on doing.
Thanks, Connor. Yeah. We love doing the live streams on here, but we want to have it to where that one is because that one's going to be for both of us. You know what I mean? I mean, as I've told you guys before, anything that we make off of this live stream gets split between the both of us. I send her a screenshot of whatever was made, and then we split it down the middle. And in fact, somebody sent me some PayPal. They sent me like $100 in PayPal, and I sent her that $50. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, whatever we get, we split down the middle both ways. But hopefully with the Real R&R channel, that'll really give us the ability to kind of have that be more transparent for the both of us and have that be an area where we can do that. Because we want to be able to do even more live streaming, not just this one. We would like to do like different types of shows on there and put out different types of content. But we can't do that until we get that channel going enough to be able to host it instead of having to host it here. So just a thought.
Exactly, guys. If you give us all the traffic, don't hold back. We need the traffic on that channel.
Yeah, the thirsty bees we're not going to do. I saw somebody say that we're not going to do the thirsty bees right now. We want to stay laser focused. So we want to get the Real R&R going first, because sometimes we can be a little, as women, we can just be la da da. So we want to get the Real R&R going first, and then we may do the two thirsty bees. It really depends. We want to be able to focus so that you guys can get really high quality content. And so anyway, so that's what we are. That's what we're doing. So go ahead and subscribe to the Real R&R, and that way we will be able to get that one going. And we can still do
thirsty bees. And if we do thirsty bees, guys, I'm going to be very unfiltered. So if y'all like my unfiltered, filthy mouth, you can then subscribe to that. But first,
we both did it. We both did it. I did the same. I started it off. I started it.
It started.
I started it.
She was the one that got that started.
Yeah. This is pretty bad.
Let me see. And like I said, you guys, I think I have a litter coming up. So hit me up if you think you're interested. I don't have any. I think I might have one person that's extremely interested in that breeding right now, but most definitely let me know.
No, Velocity, quiet down. My Velociraptor's getting mad in there. So somebody asked, let's see here. How do you help your dog not be so insecure? My Rottweiler grew up with pit bulls and was the omega for the longest time. Since they left, he has zero tolerance for them. This has made many scary times. So that's kind of a tricky one. I think that sometimes people misinterpret, because like, so for example, if your dog was the lowest member of the pack and they left and now he has zero tolerance for them, so when they are coming back, he's being aggressive with the same dogs, that doesn't tell me insecurity. That tells me that that individual was just lowest because they were the lowest at that time. Just because a dog is lowest in the pack doesn't mean they're necessarily insecure. It can very well mean that they were the youngest or the last member to join. And so when you remove those other animals, then that animal then takes the position of alpha because there's no other animals there. And so when those other animals come back, that animal is going to feel the need to make sure that they know that he's now the alpha of this space. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're going to need to be very careful about the Rottie and make sure that he understands, I don't care if this is your space or not, you're going to be respectful. You know what I mean? You're not going to be a jerk. You're not going to be, trying to be overly dominant. So that's something that you're really going to have to work on, and you're going to have to be noticing those very minute changes in the behavior that start to signify that that dog is posturing and communicating with those other animals that he's the alpha, because only until then are you actually going to be able to stop that behavior from escalating.
Exactly. You have to nip it in the bud, guys. And I will tell you, I have a similar situation that Rachel and I talk about frequently with Katana and Melina. And because Rachel and I, we were just talking the other night, and it's so weird how, it's not really weird, but our packs are different. There's a different dynamic there. And I know people have seen that Rachel is able to allow one dog to issue discipline, and I can't. So we're running our packs different, and there's a very good reason why, and I'll let Rachel discuss that. This is good content, guys.
Yeah.
So listen up, because if you have a multi-home house and, animals pass away, sometimes you have to place them out. I don't know, different reasons why your dynamic changed, but this happened to me, and Rachel, her pack, it happened to her too, but it's a little different. So she can go ahead and explain.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to cover this in a broad way. So one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of people talk about, a lot of the people that talk about dogs not being pack animals talk about how when you look at a wolf pack, the behavior is less intense. There are corrections, but typically it's less intense. And they don't have the fighting and the things like that say a pack of dogs will. And one of the things that I really was starting to think about was, I was like, what is the reality to this, right? Like, clearly dogs are absolutely pack animals, absolutely. But there is a difference in the behavior. So like in a pack of wolves, you won't get the level of aggression as in trying to kill each other that you would in dogs. And what I have really thought about and identified is that if you were to look at the way that Cashmere and Blondie act towards each other, or Blondie acts with her father, Blondie knows that Cashmere and Preacher are her parents, and she is naturally submissive to them. It doesn't mean that they don't sometimes have disagreements, but overall, Cashmere does not have to display the same amount of energy in giving a correction to Blondie that she does to, say, another dog. And so what I have found is that when you take animals that are related, which is exactly the way that a wolf pack would be, there doesn't have to be this heightened level of aggression, because there's a natural kind of submission, right? There's a natural hierarchy, because you have the parents and then all of their offspring. And anytime that there gets to be an issue there in the wild, they will leave, right? Like, so if a male, he wants to get aggressive, whatever, he'll get run out of the pack. Female, vice versa, they're pushed out of the pack. They go start their own packs. And if you've ever done research on wolf packs, you'll find that when the alpha is killed, typically that wolf pack does not stay together. Typically, they actually disperse. And that makes sense because those are all related individuals, right? So they couldn't maintain because they wouldn't be able to interbreed. So the reason why I think that when we have these artificial packs, right, we take these animals that are unrelated to each other, and then we ask them to live together, and they can, right? They can live together, no differently than, say, Cashmere and Preacher and Blondie can live together. But when you take these unrelated individuals, there isn't this natural barrier of aggression or communication because they're not related. And so there is no kind of barrier for Cashmere being overly aggressive to another dog. In fact, she may feel she needs to do that because that animal may not be listening to the same extent that, say, Blondie would. And what happened with Reese is that Reese had an alpha female, much like Cashmere, and she had two puppies that she brought in that were around the same age, which was Katana and Melina. And what ended up happening is that she had to place out her alpha female. That alpha female ended up not being breed quality and had to be removed from the program. So she ended up with two unrelated, same age females. And what did they do? They jockeyed for position because there was no natural hierarchy there. So you have two females that have grown up always positioning for that alpha position. Neither one of them ever actually got that position. And so when those animals are out together, you will see that natural competition between these two adult females who both want to run the show. And they're not allowed to do that, right? Neither one of them is allowed to do that. And at this point...
and honestly, they are so very serious about it that ultimately it could lead to a death in my pack.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very, very careful. And especially if you notice, which I will do a video, you guys, with just Melina and Katana out with each other instead of Katana's daughters being out. Yes, Trinity is an adopted daughter. Out so you can see how they behave, because it's totally different when Katana's daughters are not involved. It's not so dominant, but yeah, it is like they are both very serious and they are both very dominant.
Exactly.
So I do not allow any behavior that could lead to fighting, because unfortunately my girls are that serious. Some dogs are able to work it out. One usually falls back, but my girls are not like that.
Well, and it complicates it because Katana is the only one that is actually bred. So they have a family unit, right? It's Katana, it is her puppies, it's her male, and it's the adopted puppy, Trinity, because she was a puppy, right? So she's been adopted by the pack. And only one animal that isn't a puppy that wasn't adopted in, which is Melina. So that actually creates even more tension in her pack. So, it is something to think about. It doesn't mean that she can't have them out together. She obviously can, but it does mean that there is going to be this form of tension right there, which is a very natural thing. It's very, it's understandable, and it isn't something you can just make it go away, because and that's even proof of the pack structure of the animals. The reason there's a problem is because one of them wants to be the leader, and they're not willing to back down to each other, right? If there was
they're not willing to Julian.
Yeah.
It's not really the fact that Melina is necessarily more dominant to Katana. They are both equal in their feelings. If they were left to deal it alone, I would have a death in my pack.
Right.
So I will not allow them to go there.
Yeah, you don't let dogs sort it out between themselves unless you want one of them to die. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's just something that I'm not willing to do.
So I wanted to address this. Disney, thank you for your donation. Watching your beautiful pack, your dedication to this amazing breed. How do you handle a child who doesn't understand and just run up to your dog? Oh, and it's your birthday. Happy birthday. So
happy birthday.
So for me, I prefer to I'm not afraid of being blunt and slightly scary to kids because it's for their own safety. Okay. So when a kid runs up and this and that and blah, 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 I will look at them and I'll be like, hey, you don't walk up and put your face in a dog's face. Okay. Like, yeah. And they'll look at me and they'll be like, oh, and they'll go to their mom and they'll look at their mom. And I don't think about it is that's not my child. I don't have to live with that child. So I can kind of do them a favor by saying what needs to be said in a way that that kid understands it and respects it, yeah. Because I don't have to go home with that child. You know what I'm saying? Like I can hurt that kid's feelings. You have
to keep the child and the dog safe.
Exactly. You have to do it in a way that it's effective, right? It needs to be effective. So sometimes you have to be harsh to be kind, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I don't have a problem saying what needs to be said so long as it saves that child's face from needing reconstructive surgery later on because they ran up and got in the dog's face. You know what I mean? It may not seem very nice, but the reality is I probably protected that child in the long run, and I can recognize that. So do I want to be mean? Absolutely not. But am I going to do what needs to be done? Absolutely.
And somebody had actually asked earlier, how are Cane Corso in children in general? So if your Cane Corso is true in temperament, right, it should be a very stable dog. I have 2 children, and Rachel has Savannah. My children are very young. I have a toddler, and I have a child in grade school. And my Corso, they know their place and they are very tolerant of the children, but also I teach my children to respect the dog because respect goes both ways. So it's very, very important that you teach your children how to approach dogs, how to pet dogs. But overall, if your Corso is stable and you teach your children that respect in your Corso, how that where they are as far as the pack is concerned with your children, you shouldn't have a problem. Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's the reality. I will say that there are lines that are maybe a little less stable. And and so, like, for example, I've had preacher, quit it, Blair. I've had preacher puppies that were adults and kids ran up and grabbed their face and kissed their mouth and it was fine. However, it's not something that I suggest because dogs are very, you have to respect an animal's communication, right? And dogs do not appreciate other dogs being in their face. So when a child gets, quit it, Blair. I'm telling you, she's like, every time I talk, she tries meowing over me and I can't have her out because she's going to knock over my live stream. So, and then my dogs, anyway, quit it, Blair. So, Blair, I'm going to get that cat.
She is not going to be able to do anything with that cat. And I would like to say thank you, Alana Michelle. Oh, my middle name is Michelle, and it's spelled the same way. Shout out to Reese and Rachel for the bomb info they give. I was just going to give my dog to Rachel for training, but because of his health issues, wasn't able to, with their advice, seen major change in his behavior. Love y'all. Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We are so glad that it helped you, Alana. So glad. Yeah. That's what we came here to do. This is what we came for.
So yeah.
Go ahead, girl.
I don't even know what I was saying now, the dang cat. I put Preacher in there with her.
Oh, that's funny.
She's hating me now.
I bet she does. Where's the other one? Where's Falcor? Where is he?
Girl, he's in there with her. He picks on her. I can't have him in here because they'll literally, I mean, usually Falcor comes over and he messes with everything, and I don't want them like every time I touch one of these cords, that's whenever the live stream goes down. All those times when it went dead, that's what happened. So I can't have anybody messing with any cords. And you know how cats are. If they can knock it down or mess it up, they will.
You know, and Preacher did it last time.
Yes. So I'm saying, girl.
Did he walk into the cord last time?
Yes.
The cable?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Rachel's dogs and cats, and they're out together. Guys, I think we're gonna get a bird now. I think Rachel and I are gonna get a parrot. I think we're gonna get a parrot. So it's just gonna add to the fun.
So I had told her about these pink parrots that I liked. I don't know what they're called, cockatoo, I think. And I was like,
no, it's like a rose-breasted cockatoo.
Yeah. So I had told her about these things because I saw them at a pet store, and they were so adorable, and they're like little cuddly, cute little birds. And anyway, so she found one that she liked, and I was like, okay. I was like, we're gonna have to do this now.
Yeah, because she's like, I told you about that bird, and you didn't want me to get it. And I thought she was talking about, I think it's called the McCullen cockatoo, and they seem like a lot of work. And so I was like, nah, girl, you don't want that. But the rose-breasted, they're like, they're smaller, and they're so intelligent, and they are actually, they said like, they like their alone time at times, is what I heard about them. So I like African Grays, Terry Davis. Oh my gosh. I love African Grays. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Yeah, the Gala. Yeah. I think they're adorable. So I'm glad that Reese is on board now. Because they're so cute. If I could have a zoo, if I could have a farm or just a lot of property and a bigger house, I would have a zoo in my house, my own private zoo, because I love animals. I love them. Yep.
Any advice on how to handle a dog owner at a dog park, allowing their dog to dominate our younger dog? Our first time and not a great experience. By the way, I have a 45-pound Rottweiler puppy. I do not go to the dog park. Rachel does. So Rachel, you can handle that question, girl. She'll tell you straight up.
So, I start off with the look. I start looking for the owner, and I'll give them the look. I'll let them know that there's a problem.
Girl, show them the look. You need to show these people the look.
That's the look. So if they don't take me seriously, then I will let them know, can you please, I'll look at them, I'll be like, can you please get your dog? If they're like, where's the dog park? You know, he's just playing. I leave. That's just the reality. I leave.
Because you can't help idiots. You cannot help people that are idiots, and it's not worth damaging your your Rottweiler's character and health and stuff like that. It's just not worth it. My husky is 5 years today. He is a male, dog aggressive. Is there a way to change that? He is fine with females. Unfortunately, when you have same-sex aggression, it is a very, very, very hard thing to deal. So my recommendation is to just keep them away from other. Usually what it is that when you have a dominant male dog, he's okay. See, my thing is they're usually okay with dogs that are not a threat to who they are. So maybe smaller male dogs he may not pay any mind to, but anything his size or bigger is a threat to who he is. So just keep him away from other male dogs. That is the recommendation. He's 5 years old. He's set in that way. Do the safe thing and keep him away from other males.
And I will say this, like, you can cause a stir up. I'll be honest, like, so I used to be the type where I'm like, well, I'm not leaving. They got the bad dog. You know what I mean? And I would get onto those people, and maybe I would even give their dog a correction. But the reality is that people that are like that will ruin your day. Like, you'll get into this argument with this person. They're not going to leave, and you're going to get mad, and they're going to get mad. And the thing about it is that most people that go to the dog park, no offense if you go to the dog park, I do too, but most of them are not very intelligent. And they're certainly not smart about dog behavior. And so what they end up doing is they end up not seeing what's actually going on until they hear you guys having a confrontation. Then they look over, they see you, and they think you are the problem, right? And they don't really know. They're just going to make an assumption because of what they've just saw. And so all of a sudden you become the bad guy because you're the one who's griping at somebody else. Whether you're right or wrong, they see you as the aggressor. And especially if there's no fight, you know what I mean? If the dog hasn't really been a ruckus where everybody else has seen it, they're going to blame you. And then you're going to get mad and defensive because now everybody's looking at you like you're crazy, or maybe they even said something to you about it. And so I used to do that. I used to like really get into it with people and blah, 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 and this and that. And the reality is it's not worth it, and it'll ruin your day. It's better to just say something, try to get them to change. If they're not going to do it, leave and go on with your day and have a better day. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Disney Russ, for the donation. My name is Sarah, and I'm struggling with my neighbor's dog who's extremely reactive to the point that his dog lunges at me, I guess your 6-year-old son, and they allow their 9-year-old child to walk this dog on a flex lead. Help, safety concern for my son. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I would go to that neighbor's house, and I would actually tell them your concerns. Because this dog, if it's lunging at people and it's aggressive, a child, 9-year-old child, should not be walking this dog.
Get it on camera.
You should be very blunt in letting them know, especially in a flex lead, like what in the world? I will let them know that, look, you're going to turn them in to the authorities, to animal control, to the police. You have to do what you have to do, you know, because your human child comes first. Yep. Let them know. Be very firm with them.
Get it on camera.
And if it doesn't change, do what you said you were going to do. Yeah. And let's turn them the heck in, because that's not safe at all.
Yeah, get it on camera as best you can, because if anything ever, most jurisdictions basically will tell you, like in Texas, they'll tell you, we can't do anything until the dog actually bites a person, right? It can be as aggressive as it wants to be. It could chase you down the road. You could jump on a car. It could have been really bad, but because that dog did not actually bite you, they won't do anything. So it's very important to get it on video, and that way you can actually sue the people, because sometimes that's the only real way to make a difference. The police department really isn't going to do anything, but you can sue them, but you're going to need proof of that. Not to mention that if anything ever did happen, a bite did happen, then you have backup. You have all this evidence to support the fact that the dog was aggressive, for whenever they say, but Fluffy's never done that before. He's never showed any signs of aggression. Now you have evidence to the contrary. And and you won't have to worry about having to defend that part of the argument.
Exactly. So go to your neighbor, have that talk with them, and if it doesn't change, like Rachel said, get them on camera.
A lot of times that's enough, man. When they see you filming, they think you're about to make them internet famous, and they don't want none of that.
Go right up there, like a Felicia, and sit on your front stoop, and you get them people on candy camera.
Yeah, pull a Karen. Pull a Karen.
A
barbecue Becky. What is it? Barbecue Becky. Pull a barbecue Becky. Sit up there and just be like, these people's dog is aggressive. He's always chasing us. Blah, blah, blah.
Show them the look with the phone they need to have and they sitting on that stoop. You need to make it very clear that you are filming and you're getting them.
And do the head nod.
Camera.
Do the head
and
nod.
You need to look at them and say, "You're on candid camera."
That's what you gotta do. So that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, that was a great question. That's crazy. Achilles, be quiet.
It happens all too frequently.
Jeez, Louise. Let me see what other questions we have. Why are flex leads a thing? Just use a lunge line. I don't know why retractable leads were ever a thing. I don't get it.
Because of money. It's a leash idea. People want to make money. They want to make something that hasn't already been made. That's why.
Someone made a lot of money off of that.
Yep. You know, I will not hesitate. If a dog comes up to me trying to start some stuff, the last thing those people want is you like getting onto their dog. You know what I'm saying? If a dog comes up, tries to bite me, I'm going to get him. You know what I'm saying? If you can protect yourself from a person trying to hit you, you can defend yourself from a dog. And so I will not hesitate. Absolutely. I will not hesitate. I will let him know. And they'll be like, "Why'd you kick Fluffy?" Because Fluffy was trying to bite me. Control your dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot. Like, for real.
Exactly. Okay. You are candy camera.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Rachel, what is for dinner? What are you eating? I'm so hungry.
A steak, broccoli, and green beans.
Oh, that sounds so good. Look at the.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Cheryl.
Let me see. I asked this already, but can you please give detail and example why you believe Blondie is more dominant and would take alpha position over Velocity? Don't underestimate my girl Velocity. So Velocity is not actually like a stable dog, and that's why she can't be alpha. Dogs don't respect instability. That's why a person that has an unstable temperament can't be the alpha in the relationship with their dog. It's no different than chaotic Karen, you know, may think she's the boss of an organization, but in reality, nobody respects her and everybody's talking crap about her, right? So, you know, Velocity just doesn't have what it takes, and Blondie does. Blondie is a dominant girl, but she's also very balanced. And so that's why. You know, that's why I love Velocity, but she's not alpha material. She's just, you know, she's just not, unfortunately. She's one of those people that wants to be the leader, and everybody, like, when I'm sure you've all known people like that, like, you know, they want to be the boss, they want to be the leader, but in reality, they can't handle it. You know, they're too petty. They're too, you know, that they would literally cut out the most productive people in a business just because they don't like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have a leader like that. A leader has to care about the whole pack. They can't be so petty that they'll destroy the pack just to, you know, because they want to. And Velocity's like that. Velocity's like that. She's not stable. She could never have a pack because she just doesn't know how to act. She would splinter them because she would be so just unstable.
Exactly. That's why Velocity cannot be alpha. I think it's gonna be Blondie next.
Yeah, she would. I guarantee what would happen is she would try to start something. Velocity would try to start something, maybe with another dog. And what would happen is you would think that everybody like respects Velocity or whatever, but when that fight happened, you would see the whole pack descend on Velocity and take her down, because a pack of dogs will always attack the most unstable member of the pack, and she's that dog. So they're not going to attack
Yeah.
Blondie. They're going to go for Velocity because Velocity's energy is the one that is the most destructive. And so she may run for a little bit, but eventually the pack would take her out.
Somebody said they thought Trinity was going to become beta and make Blondie's alpha position even stronger. Trinity's pretty young. We'll see.
Yeah, when she comes back, it'll be interesting to see what she does.
Because here, her position is not anywhere close, just because I have older females. They're just much older than her, more dominant than her, so I would actually like to see how that works when she comes back, because when she was with Rachel, she was very clear that she was tending to be something.
And she tried it at your house. It didn't work out.
Huh?
I said she tried it at your house. Melina let her know in no uncertain terms.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't going to
work.
work.
Knocked her down. Melina knocked her down. But
Melina let her know.
Back home. Yeah, Melina let her know that because Trinity was coming in real hot.
Yep, she learned.
You guys, I'm going to get something to eat. I'll be right back. I'm starved.
My bad. Okay, I'm going to take over. All right, so Belladonna, you better chill out in there. Okay, Midnight would have been Wells and Alpha. Yep, she would have been just like her mama. My puppy refuses to use the bathroom outside. I have on a set feeding schedule. Take her outside accordingly. So what you're going to have to do with a dog that won't do that is you're going to have to take her out and just constantly take her out. And you're going to have to monitor her. And every time she tries to go to the bathroom inside, you have to catch her in the act. You have to run up and you have to be like, no. And you got to run her outside real quick and take her out. And so you're just going to have to get used to that.
On that. The best thing that's worked for me in regards to a puppy that's constantly going in the house is, like Rachel said, you have to get them on a feeding schedule, water and feeding schedule. And as you watch that puppy, you will see that it's kind of like a time thing. You know that if they eat and drink 30, 45 minutes later, they need to go out, pee and poop. And so what I do is I take them out frequently. I make sure feedings are early, like way before 8 o'clock. You get home from work, feed that dog dinner, get that dog water, and then take it out throughout the evening. Same thing for the morning, get the feeding done super early in the morning, and then let that dog have as much time as they need. And actually taking them out on a lead is very valuable. I know that it's time consuming, but they need to be rewarded when they go potty outside. So what I do is I take them out on the lead every time. And when they pee, when they poop, I let them know. And I'll tell them to go potty. They hear potty until they go. And then I say, good girl, good boy. And I take them immediately in. Do not let them stay out. As soon as they do it, they come immediately in. And that goes a long way. It's a little work, but it goes a long ways. Oh, if your dog poops in the bathtub, what?
Okay, I got to clear something up. So Midnight actually had really great hips. There was no issue with her hips. She had really good scores. She had what's called hyperplasia, which is where the hormones, a abnormality in the reproductive organs of the dog. It causes the tissue to swell to the point where there's a partial prolapse, which actually physically prevents the act of breeding. So when we went overseas, we actually found out that there is a treatment for that. And in fact, they handle that very differently than we do here. But I didn't know about it.
A lot of things differently than we do over here.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. So I spayed her and rehomed her. It's very important. I know a lot of people, maybe it's a bad choice of words, but for me, whenever I hear people say, got rid of a dog, or why'd you give up on a dog, that's not what breeders do. We don't get rid of dogs. We don't give up on dogs. We rehome dogs whenever there's something about that animal that makes it a liability to the breeding population. You know what I mean? Like in nature, there is a very cruel system that determines which animals are allowed to procreate and which ones are not. If an animal is born with some type of genetic abnormality, that animal 9 times out of 10 is unable to reproduce. It's usually killed off by some type of predator or dies by an inability to take care of itself and live. And so because we are the breeders, we are the ones doing that, and there is no natural order of things to kind of facilitate that process for us. We have to be responsible and be very careful about what animals we choose to allow to procreate within our programs. That's what determines a good breeder versus a bad breeder, because a bad breeder doesn't care and they'll reproduce anything. And then you have a bunch of genetic mutations. Like, for example, French bulldogs have a ton of issues with them that make them an absolute costly mess whenever you have one, because there's always something going wrong with them. And that's because the people that are breeding them have no standard other than probably color as to what they're using to breed with. So, you know, please be aware of the fact that when one of us rehomes a dog out of our program, it's for a good reason. It's not because we don't like the dog. It's not because we don't love the dog. It's because we love the breed enough to not put that animal into the program if in fact it isn't going to benefit the breed as a whole.
Exactly. What we are doing is trying to preserve the breed, and that's we have to make very hard decisions that pet owners don't have to make, because y'all can enjoy the fruits of our labor, and that's the goal, for everybody to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Yeah, so Liberty's hips were not breed worthy. She's not just plastic, she's not breaking down, but she definitely didn't have hips that Rachel needed to continue in her program, because I can produce much better than that. And Rachel's dogs typically have super good hips, and Liberty's parents had good hips. That's the thing that people have to understand is, yes, we help test for the hopes of good hips, but it can happen where you breed 2 dogs with perfectly good hips, very good hips, and you still get dogs with not perfect hips. So that's very, very true, and it can happen. So, but that's why we have the 24-month health guarantees. Because we can't control everything.
Yeah. So I was going to upload a video today, and for whatever reason, it didn't upload, although I'd be so crazy if it did in fact upload while I was doing this. So Maddie, thank you for your donation. No, I don't. Oh, that's right. I did a video today talking about what I have coming on. So I spoke with the breeder who I've been talking to for a while now about getting a male. And originally I contacted him about a female, but then I had Gina and I had Penelope and I had another female, or that was it actually. Yeah. And so anyway, so I was like, okay, well, actually I need a male. And especially because Giovanni didn't work out. And so anyway, I contacted him today, and he has 4 males available. They're very young. He's going to send me pictures soon, and I'm going to be choosing a male from that litter. And then he said, oh, by the way, I have 2 more litters coming up. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, you know, I would like a female from one of those litters, because I need to bring in another female. A lot of people have been asking. A lot of people love Preacher, completely understandable. But a lot of people want a Preacher puppy. But unfortunately, uploaded 48 minutes ago. That sucks. I'm gonna have to work with that. Anyway, so he let me know that he has a female that he has a female available from 7 months ago. When I originally contacted him and wanted a dog, so he has a female available out of that breeding. She's 7 months old now. And then also we have that male that I think I don't know how old they are. I want to say they're probably like, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks old or something right now. So anyway, long story short, I'm going to be bringing in that 7-month-old female and the male. She'll probably be a little bit older by the time that I bring her in, because I want to bring them in at the same time, and I have to wait for that male to be old enough to bring in. But very cool. So I'll have a new female that I can bring in that I can actually breed to preacher. For those of you that have really been wanting a preacher puppy, I have a Tari, but I'll also have this other female, which will be really cool. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah, it will
be really cool. And I'm thinking about seriously importing from the same breeder. It'll be a surprise when it happens. Yeah, I'm definitely working on importing a male. I would like another male here. I mean, for me and a lot of breeders, we outsource for our males. Like it's very normal to outsource. So yeah, it is important to have males at home, but even Rachel, she's not going to just idolize what she has at home. Sometimes you're going to see her even outsource.
Oh yeah.
So that's a tool that we are both using. So just because a breeder has one male does not mean that it's the end all, because everybody is doing AI, outsourcing or driving for natural breedings. So we're not just backed in a corner with what we just have.
Yeah, there's
in fact, you can do breedings from dogs overseas because you can import. Yep. Can I say the word?
No, Reese. Remember,
you can,
it's the nectar. The nectar.
The juice. The
juices. The nectars. The nectars. So
yeah, well.
So, but there's a male. So I wanted to kind of touch on this because I wanted to kind of help people understand, right? So there is a male from Sangua Magnifica that is blue in color, but he's gorgeous. He's a beautiful male. He's got excellent genetics. There's so much to love about this dog, right? And so we are going to be using this male, right? One, because he's gorgeous, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And two, so that we can bring in colors that you guys like, right? So there is a responsible way to be able to bring in colors that people like without doing it in an unhealthy way. And in a way that, yeah, a beautiful, beautiful dog. So
like, I'm not using him for his color. Like he's structurally beautiful, but you know, the color is a plus. It can give us variety.
No, yeah, it is a plus. Yeah, it is a plus. Yeah. It's actually, I would say it's a bonus. It's a bonus because really the dog is very nice on his own. We would have bred to him regardless. Yeah. He could have been a brindle dog or a fawn dog, and we would have used him because we know the lines. They're very dependable. There's a limited amount of those dogs in the States anyway, so we would have been using him anyway. But the color is just a super added bonus for you guys. And so having said that, that's the male that I plan on breeding Trinity to before she comes home. So she'll stay with Reese until her second heat, at which point I'll breed her to that male. And then she'll be shipped back down here to actually have her puppies and all that good stuff. So, anyway, so that is a way that a responsible breeder can bring in colors that you guys like. And we even like, I'll be honest, I don't mind the color blue. I prefer more of a Formentino, but I don't mind the color blue. Or in our breed, it's called gray. As
gray.
Long as
people call it blue, but it really is gray.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's one of the ways that I'm going to be maintaining that dilution throughout my lines in a healthy way, because Trinity is a brindle. She's a chestnut brindle. He is a dilute, a recessive gene, but her mother was a dilute. So the odds are that we'll get some dilutes out of that breeding, and probably some really nice ones, considering how well the breeding did between Achilles and Blondie. Achilles has the same breeder, a lot of the same genetics, not necessarily as close, but similar. And so it would be kind of a similar in type breeding, not necessarily in genetics, but in type breeding.
In type. And somebody asked if we would be using ZZ Top. Well, I think that most likely Rachel will probably be adding ZZ Top lines into her program through Sangway and through because I have his half sister. So we will be adding his genetics, not so much him.
Yeah.
That and it's the same thing. So I have his half sister, and I'm gonna be breeding her. Rachel most likely will get an offspring off of her.
I should be getting a daughter.
Rachel may also be bringing in a daughter or a son of ZZ Top.
It'll be a daughter.
Sure.
No, it'll be a daughter.
Either way, we already have his genetics.
Yeah, it'll be a daughter.
Yeah.
For sure, a daughter. Let me see here. Connor, you only need one question mark, buddy. Why bring in a 7-month-old female? If so, I have a question. I thought you didn't like to bring in any dogs over the age of 4 months because it's harder to integrate them into your pack. Technically, that is true. Normally, that is the case. However, I asked this breeder whether or not this female has been kept around other dogs or not, because normally I wouldn't. I did ask that to him today, and he did say that she is actually currently being kept with other dogs. So because of the fact that she is indeed socialized, I can bring her in with my pack. Now, it's not going to be like, for example, as easy as bringing in a puppy, because obviously she's older. And so when my pack issues a correction to her, they're going to have a tendency to want to issue a stronger correction than they would a puppy. So that's something that I'm going to have to monitor. I'm going to have to be very careful and very tough on my pack so that they understand just because this is an older dog does not mean that you get to issue a stronger correction to her, right? So
exactly.
You know, there'll be a little bit of some fine tuning.
Go ahead, Rachel.
I was just saying there'll be a little bit of fine tuning on my end to make it done, but because of the fact that she has lived around other dogs, I will have a easier time integrating her than say a dog that has never been around other dogs and it was living in a kennel on her own.
Exactly. And I can say for breeders, if the dog's temperament is really good, very stable, the fact that the dog is older means that it's more promising. Because we can see where the structure is heading.
Exactly.
So the older the dog, typically, when you make a purchase like that, it's more promise. And that dog is definitely going to be a good part of your program. And also, that's a good age to, you can do like a prelim type of situation on the dog before you bring it over. And that makes it even more promising.
Especially because it's so much cheaper over there.
So there are a lot of benefits to bringing in an older female.
Yeah, it's so much cheaper.
If the temperament is stable and good. It's very, very common. Very common. Especially in our breed, very common. Breeders bring in older females all the time.
Zach and Sarah, I think it was the goggles. Yes, I did get them. I can't show them because right now Batista has been kind of a lot of medication. So he's kind of like chilling out, laying down, not really doing much. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty awesome. He got me some camo goggles for Batista. So once he has his surgery, awesome. Yeah, once he has his surgery and he's out of it and everything's good, then we can put them on and kind of see how he does with it, which I think is pretty cool. But in the meantime, I don't want to put anything on him because I'm afraid that it'll cause him to want to go for his eyes. So what happened is that he was going around messing around. For those of you that have not had a Corso, what they like to do, as you can see in my intro now, they like to throw up those front paws and they like to bat each other with their paws. And so he got hit, he got scratched in the eyeball, and it caused an injury to his cornea. And because he kept rubbing on it, because he's dramatic, caused an ulcer. And he kept messing with that because, like I said, he's a little girl and he's dramatic. It got really bad and actually caused apparently a detachment from his cornea, I think it is. So it's the cornea. Yeah, so it's not anything genetic or anything like that. I spoke with there's a ophthalmologist, a specialist. She said no. She said it's because of the complicated ulcer. And so he's just so dramatic, you guys. Like, so dramatic. He's
goofy. It's Batista.
He's very, very goofy.
Batista. He's a goofball. He messes around, boxes everybody. You've seen the way he plays with Atari. Like, injury. He let her chew his face. So that injury made sense. It's an inconvenience, but he should be fine. But if y'all don't see Batista for a while, it's just because he is under strict orders right now.
Yeah, he's literally going to be, when he has the surgery, because I really want to make sure that, like, he's the type where he'll come in and act like he wants you to pet him, and then he'll rub his eyeball on you. So he rubs his eyeball like on and he's a huge satellite cone, huge cone. And he'll just rub his eye between the cone and the couch. Like, it's ridiculous. Or the cone and the edge of my bed. So he's a bad dog. Needless to say, when the surgery is done, I'm taking him directly to my vet to be put in their medical kennel. He'll be monitored there to make sure that he does not re-injure his eye, because I'm serious, you guys, it's costing me over $3,000 for his surgery. So it's a guap. It's a guap. So if you want to help me out with that, feel free. You can donate to my PayPal. But yeah, it is. I'll show the receipt because y'all know me. I'm all about receipts. It's a guap. Okay. But
she really is.
But I'm gonna do it for my main man. He's a little butt though, man. He's a butt. So yeah, he's a butt.
Somebody asked about thoughts on dog wearing collars. I see Reese, you seem to use them more than Rachel on the daily. I do. So my dogs wear collars when they're outside, and then when I can think of it, which is quite often, I take them off. And so they're collarless in the house, and when they're out, they wear their collars. Just because I feel like I have more control when they're out as a pack and I need to go snatch somebody up if need be. So that's why. And then when I bring them in, sometimes the puppies feel like they need to come in with fire blazing. I can snatch them up and make them sit and wait, and then let them go. So it's a way for me to control the energy, control them. But they don't wear collars all the time. Like right now, no one has on a collar.
Yeah. So I'm weird. I typically don't use collars, just because I'm weird. It really is the only reason why. I'm an off person. There is no benefit to not having a collar on. I just don't. So yeah.
Somebody asked, are there any breed disqualifications that you find silly or frustrating? No, not in this breed. In fact, they aren't enforced enough. I'll just leave it at that.
So Fred Wolf, yes, the roachback actually is good for some things. So you will see a roachback in dogs that are used for speed. Anything that is really fast is going to have a roachback. We're talking your greyhounds, your whippet, your Basenji, your Saluki, the Borzoi, your I can't think of anything else, but that
Italian greyhounds.
Yes, that arching, yes, that roach top line like that. What it allows them to do is, as they're running, they extend the back leg out. It actually, or back legs out. It actually goes straight. And then when they come back in, they're able to completely tuck themselves up underneath themselves into a tiny, light little ball. And so what they do is they just do this springing action, right? And it allows them to really, like if you look at a cheetah run, it's the same thing. It allows them to really fold into themselves to get the maximum amount of speed and just, propulsion going on. So that's, you really need a very flexible spine to be a speed animal. And that gives them the ability to do that. So there are dogs that do have a roach back in their standard. Now, there's a huge difference between the correct roach and there is an exaggerated incorrect roach. Even in those breeds, a roach can be too extensive. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Exactly. And our breed was not meant to be speed demons. They were actually meant to get where they need to go without too many strides, but not actually be extremely fast like a whippet or a greyhound. So our breed calls for a straighter top line.
I think it's called level.
It all has to do with the job that they were bred for. Do we get that every time? No, but can we correct it through breeding? Absolutely. But there is an exaggerated roach top line that she was talking about, and Preacher doesn't have that. He just has somewhat of a roach top line. Siberians are distance runners, so they do not have the roach top line. They shouldn't.
Yeah, we're talking sprinters.
Yeah, we're talking sprinters, not long distance runners. But of course, though, is not a distance runner either. Neither is it a speed demon. So keep it in mind. It's supposed to get where it needs to go without having to take too many steps to get there. It gets there quick, but it's not gonna run for miles like a Siberian, and it's not gonna be a speed demon like a whippet or a greyhound.
Yep. All right. How do you start and know when to let a dog? How do you start and know when to let a dog up when doing the corrections like you do, Rachel, for an older or small dog? So whenever I do the alpha roll, I let them up. So it depends on the consequence, right? If I told the dog to go into submissive posture and they go into submissive posture quickly, easily, and I can tell by their facial expressions and by their energy that they're actually sorry, like the video that I did today with Blondie, then I will let them up pretty quickly because the point has been made. If I have to go out of my way to get that dog to go down and they're waiting to get back up and they're really not in it, then I will sit there and I will make him stay there until they really get the message. So the answer to that question is you need to keep them down as long as it takes for them to actually get the point and to get the effect of the punishment, right? The punishment is that it is a consequence. It is something to let them know you did something wrong. I don't want you to do this again. Now you have to do something that you don't want to do. So if you let them up before that consequence actually takes effect, before it actually matters to that dog, then your punishment was ineffective. So I do it as long as that animal needs for them to understand and not want that to happen, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So
you have to mean it. You have to mean it.
Yes. So with Admiral, typically I have to do it longer with him because he is he's hard to do that with. He does not care so much. He's kind of like, whatever, you know what I mean? Let me go. And so you have to kind of sit there and wait a minute and wait for him to get over it, wait for him to get up, for him to finally be like, oh, okay, I did something wrong. Okay, all right, I'm going to sit here. okay, and he'll just sit there and like lay there and wait. You know, you have to wait for that mental change. So it's dependent on each and every animal as to how long you need to do it for. Just like it is with children when you discipline a child. You know, some kids get the message very quickly. They're very sensitive, very soft. They don't need much. Other kids like me, super dominant, super stubborn, very, very like, I'm gonna do what I want. That's how I was as a kid. And you really had to prolong, you know, the punishment, because if you were too easy on me, I was gonna be like, oh, she's a punk. I can do what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was bad. I measured everybody up when I met them. I was like, yeah, you are easy. I'm gonna be able to manipulate you. And
exactly,
you gotta watch them.
Even with small dogs, with all dogs, you can issue corrections. Just because you're little doesn't mean you get cut loose.
Yeah, no, doesn't matter how small they are. You know, the discipline is all the same. You got to do what you got to do. And you guys will see that whenever I bring in my little cutie patootie, my little dachshund.
Is that Dylan, Rachel? What day is that?
Oh my God,
I'm excited. Which is that the second?
The first Saturday.
The first.
Saturday.
Very awesome.
Isn't it Saturday?
Exciting.
Yeah, Saturday. I'm excited. I'm bringing in my dachshund. Y'all don't judge me. I'm gonna get clothes for my little puppy and everything. Get.
Julian, thank you.
Thank you, Julian.
I'm kind of lit right now.
We gotta run
to the store. Love y'all's videos. We need more pack videos, Rach. I'm just gonna keep saying it.
I did one today. But it probably, everybody, you have to hit the notification bell because of the tube. Yeah. YouTube they are tripping, y'all. They are tripping. They will not tell you everything I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Hit it for me. Hit it for us. Hit it for her. Yeah. There should be 3 notification bells that you hit tonight. Yeah. My channel, Rachel's channel,
and the R&R, and the Real R&R.
The Real guys. So if you want to see the content, hit the bell, hit the like, subscribe. We really appreciate you guys and the love. We feel it. I am just like so happy that y'all like us the way that you do. Yeah. And we'll just keep it real. We'll continue to keep it real.
Yep. And typically, you guys, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, I upload a picture to Instagram before I upload my video, because that's probably going to be my thumbnail. So that's your little insider thing. If y'all are wanting to see if I'm going to put something up, when I put up a little picture, y'all gonna be like, what? Are you putting up a video? Yeah. And I'll be like, it's uploading now. So I'm very honest about it. I know how the tube is. I'm sorry that it's like that, but I promise you guys, I'm constantly trying to put out content for you guys, constantly trying to get them puppies on camera and the pack on camera. So, I'm, trying to diversify a little bit more and like get some stuff out that like going off the property and things and whatever. So, it's been a rough year for me. I'll be honest with you. There's been a lot going on, but, since I moved into this new house, but now that I'm here and everything's kind of settled down, I really am trying to diversify more, get back out, do dog park stuff or whatever. So there you go.
Look for more content from Senza Tempo, you guys. And I'll be
GFBC
tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kimchi. Thank you, Glenn. Fun.
Yeah, and with all them other Corso channels out there, don't y'all forget about me. Don't forget about me, okay? Oh my God. I'm just messing. So, but I noticed, man, a bunch of other people coming out, and it's like, okay, there's room for all of us, but y'all don't forget about me, okay? Just diversify.
Yeah,
just diversify.
About Rachel, guys.
So
do not. You know what I mean? We're always going to keep it real. We're always going to give you real content, situations, corrections. Don't forget about Rachel, and don't forget about me either.
Don't forget
and I
about
want to
us.
thank everybody that has subscribed and watched my content. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. You don't even understand how much. And I will definitely know, guys. I do not take my pack to dog parks.
She's anti-dog park.
So,
she's anti-dog park.
Yeah, I don't do dog parks. So I just don't think it would be a good situation for my pack. But I do take my dogs out. I do socialize them. I will be getting that on my channel, those videos, so you can see my dogs out and about. But I don't do dog parks because I just don't trust people.
Yep. Thank you, Disney.
All right, you guys. Thank you, Disney. We really appreciate it. Y'all are real, and that's why I respect both of you. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
That's why we're best friends. I think we're
gonna. Oh, Samantha, thank you. Thank you, Samantha.
Oh, thank you, Samantha. Big thank you. Big thank you.
Big thank you.
Oh God,
Ruth, could you show one of your dog's gaits and do a voiceover telling us about the dog's qualities and cons, please? The good and the bad. I am going to be doing that, guys. Thank you so much for complimenting my dog's structure. It really makes me happy, and I will be doing those videos. So stay tuned.
Yes,
Maddie,
yes.
thank you. Do you ever see yourselves breeding another breed? That is for Rachel.
I am. I'm going to be breeding dachshunds. Absolutely going to be breeding dachshunds. I've been wanting to get a small breed as well, because a lot of people watch my channel, but they may not necessarily have the lifestyle or the temperament for a Corso. And so everybody kind of likes the way that I do stuff and the way I breed and whatnot. So I figured, you know what, let me go ahead and diversify a little bit and get something that, really anybody could have. I really like dachshunds. I hope that maybe if you've never seen one in person, maybe if you haven't, you don't know what they're like. Hopefully I can show you guys, but they're very cool for a small dog. They really don't act like small dogs. So yeah, I really hope that that you guys can kind of fall in love with them too, the way that I have, and really kind of have the ability to have a small dog that is super cool and not this little, you know what I mean? Like we're not doing that. So
and who knows, guys? I might get one after Rachel, just for a pet. I don't really have any interest in breeding another breed right now, so I may just get one for a pet. But I do know I want a bird. So if I do anything soon, it's gonna be a bird or an iguana. I really just want a different species in my house, if anything.
Yeah. I would love to have one of them birds.
Yeah, we're gonna do the bird, and we might breed the birds. Who knows? Because it just seems like everything around here wants to breed.
Yeah. So okay, well, y'all.
I have cats?
Girl, she's allergic.
Answer that for them.
She's allergic. She can't have a cat. She can't have it. She likes them, but she can't do it. She's very allergic.
I'm very like I am the type of person who will just croak, I'm out. Anaphylactic activity. But guys, thank you guys, and I think we're gonna let y'all go for the night. Thank you. Before you get a bird, talk to me first. I have an umbrella cockatoo. Carol, hit me up. Absolutely. I had birds. I actually had parakeets for a long time, and I've always loved them, and I wanted to get back into them. So I do have experience with the smaller birds, but definitely hit me up, Carol, on my email, which is fressatora@gmail. Hit me up and let me know. I would love to talk to you. But good night, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna go to bed. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
All right, guys. Bye.